Alright, we're here at Cutlass Cape, which is where the Blue Moon Tower is. And let's proceed downward. To get here, you have to use the wind-worn valley. So you're fighting against the wind the whole time to get here. And as you come, you can kind of see we've we're on a paved road, obviously well used, but also very, very worn. Structures are damaged and fallen down. So there must have been a magnificent archway that led to the place. You can see lots of crenellations. And as opposed to the catacombs, where it's quite dug out of the earth, quite a crude entrance, although the tombs are very sophisticated themselves. Um, we are now above ground. This is obviously a much more modern building. Um, and in um, medieval times and beyond, um, very sophisticated castles were built with these crenellations and observation towers, where you would have had guards set to keep watch on the skies, I presume. Um, and the pawns will comment on this. Now, it takes your pawns to have some area knowledge. The first time they'll just comment on the building itself, and as they gain more area knowledge and the more times you come here, they obviously impart more knowledge to you. Again, the first time you come, you walk the entire way, so you're on a pilgrimage, and it is sort of in the second and third tier quests. So you're not meant to come here originally. You're meant to progress from deep underground to where we're, as I referenced, you have the earth gods. Then you go to the water god altar, which is behind a waterfall appropriately, and you're meant to, um, now you're dealing with the old gods and the water gods, and you even have a worm there when you go post game, who talks to you in English. And then now we're here. And when you first come here, of course, you're coming here um, to fight a fearsome flying creature, a griffin, who's electrified, um, and this who makes his home here now that it's been abandoned. And but it is a far more sophisticated building than the previous two locations. And we're surrounded by water and we're out on a cape. So let's proceed further and let's see what the pawns have to say and what kind of creatures we
A
encounter.
watchtower, perhaps? But watching over what?
The Bluemoon Tower. It is written that this tower was built long,
No
long
accounts
ago
remain of why,
at the
however.
Lord's behest.
None know what purpose it served.
So long ago, some, at least to the pawn's knowledge, a lord built it um, to defend against the worm. Um, it's rumored that God King Leonard built this tower. God King Leonard is the founder of the House of Bickward, which is the house that Eleanor, the Duke's wife, is from. Um, so that's the third political faction involved in this. You have Hearthstone, Voldoa, and then you have Bickward, or actually Malar, where Eleanor is from. And so but she's locked away in a tower, interestingly enough, the whole time. I mean, you meet her at one point, but then she's locked away. So you have to rescue her from a tower like Rapunzel, and then later you have to rescue her from a very far away castle. She's locked away up in a tower. So towers seem to be associated with her. And here we are at Blue Moon Tower. All right, and so let's find out what kind of creatures are inside.
Some say it was to ward against the worm. Others, an altar to the old gods. We've no way of knowing for certain.
So let's explore that idea that it's possibly built as an altar to the old gods. And when you first come in, you're greeted by two statues of a griffin. I can't quite make out, you know, the crest up there. See the crest? There's a crest over it. I can't quite make out what it is up there, and whether it's a dragon up there around the crest. Looks that way somewhat. Um, it's hard to tell from down here. We encounter flying creatures. There's crows. Okay, so very much so. There's the tower itself. And let's see what kind of creatures are here. So now we find snow harpies, creatures of the air, and skeleton magi, more ghosts. I love how they articulate. That's pretty cool. Pawns are always surprised, even if they do have 3-star knowledge. Okay, I can hear him. He's casting. Yep, there's the harpies. Bye-bye. We'll stay prepared. So now we're proceeding up into the air.
May this night be your end.
And when you come here originally, this area here, and especially when you return, it's all damaged because remember, you come up here to fight the griffin. You have to like smash your way through the gates. I think an alternate way is given, but not really shown, that you can kind of go around that gate by going up this way and then getting to the handle here, right here, which opens, I believe, this gate. And of course, you could see that, yep, we have fought the griffin and had to go around. So let's do that. Let's go the path we're intended to go when we come back up here. So you come up here the first time for the griffin, you come back for the Worm King Ring quest, and then finally you come here post-game on a quest from Bitter Black. Or you could, you know, just be exploring. And you can see, like, the building is quite sophisticated. There's archways, fitted blocks of different sizes, but obviously fitted together. There's grouting. It's way more sophisticated building than the ones we've encountered with the catacombs and the Water God's altar. There he is. Just wait. Okay, let's proceed up the steps and see what we get. I think skeleton knights and skeleton sorcerers protect this. Were they originally warriors and fighters here? Who knows? It's hard to say. Just know that all these places are inhabited by ghosts. Whoop. And here comes the snow harpies. Ooh, twins.
We have triumphed.
No way we could have lost like that.
I think I need that right there. Okay. Sorry. And then we reach the top. And what awaits us here? A thunder wyvern, which is only appropriate. Okay. He's not happy at us disturbing him.
Strip its wings and it cannot fly.
And he's gone. Alright.
Lightning is no use against it.
So here we are. We're at the top. By the way, these a little more
This looks
powerful
interesting.
dragons that you meet. I didn't get it this time, but the one here, the one in the Water God's altar, um, the one
Being
in the
outside feels
Conqueror's
disappointing
Sanctuary have a
for you,
higher
Arisen.
chance of dropping dragon tears for you. I didn't get one this time, but when I came up here, not here, but 3 times a charm, right? To discuss this, I actually the Thunder Wyvern dropped me 3 Wyvern tears, so they have the highest chance. And you could see this is an open air place. I don't think there ever was a roof here. I think this was a place that had open air worship. And what better place to worship gods of the sky, of lightning, of air, that coming up the wind-worn valley to Bluemoon Tower. And Bluemoon Tower overlooks a cape. You can see that.
Would that
So
we had
it's,
seen this place at the height of its glory.
and this must have been quite an impressive place back in the time of God King Leonard, if indeed that's who built this. But you can see it's far more sophisticated place. And it almost reminds me of those stories in a way of Atlantis, where Atlantis sat at the center of a concentric ring of land with the king himself or the ruler sitting at the center of it and everybody else sitting outward to it. And of course, that's long gone, and that's a legend as well. Um, and perhaps all of that was not flooded. Perhaps that was land. It's hard to know, and the pawns don't impart that knowledge to you, and nor do I find it anywhere in the game. But obviously, the building is far more sophisticated than any place we've been. It's quite open and airy. Reminds me a bit of the Colosseum in a way, with those just open arches. Um, but the buildings with the crenellations, that reminds me of a lot of castles that you see in Germany, in France, in Great Britain. And here we find a thunder wyvern, so lightning. We find snow harpies, crows, creatures of the air. And for me, this speaks volumes of one of the old gods, which is the god of the sky. And also, not to delve too deeply into religious beliefs of any kind, talking more mythology and some of the literature that's out there, that originally people worship the god of the earth, goddess of the earth, um, alongside god or goddess of water and springs. And then as time changed and time went on, um, that was transferred to make sort of the more powerful god, the god of the sky, similar to Zeus. Um, so from matriarchal to patriarchal, and makes a lot of sense that the that would be here. If you look on the map, you'll also see that, and we'll do that really quickly, that where this place sits is out on a cape. So we with here's the rest of the area. It's defending something, right? The mainland's back here. Okay, so is it the first bulwark of defense against the worm coming from the sea? It's hard to know. Um, and then Grand Soren sits here, a little more inward, um, and dependent basically on its location to defend it from any attacks from the sea, because the wall doesn't go completely around there. And then we have the rest of Grancis in this whole area, all of back here. And then we don't know what the neighboring countries are. So that speaks volumes for me about this place, and also about some of the places that the developer and the director visited when planning for the game. Lastly, it's called Bluemoon Tower, and perhaps that's a nod to director Itsuno's thoughts on having a place to go post, as you leveled up more the moon, because this is Blue Moon's tower. We have Moonspit Pass, we have Moonbeam Gems, we've got Moonbeam Doors, and we have Dusk Moon Tower where you actually can see the moon, whereas here, the moon is never in the sky in Grancis. And the only allusions to it is really Blue Moon Tower. So, a place of the old gods, a place of the gods of sky and air and lightning. And this is it, Blue Moon Tower.